Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
This is something that people need to be aware of, that animals have social lives. They have cares and woes and worries and concerns and stresses and happiness and pleasure. They have a rich experiential, physical and emotional life like we do.
Please continue watching to find out more.
No to vegan, 'cause you hate humanity. You prefer the company of hellish devils.
Je vous souhaite une splendide journée. This means wishing you a splendid day in French, the official language of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Kind viewers, I'm Keisha, and I'm a vegan Eastern chimpanzee lady from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, one of the world's most resource-rich countries. The noble humans and animal people of the Democratic Republic of the Congo pray that you will always be uplifted by the loving kindness of those around you. It is such a joy to present today's show, Dr. Jonathan Balcombe, vegan, on the incredible intellect and emotional intelligence of animal people, part 1 of 2. Dr. Jonathan Balcombe is a distinguished British biologist with a PhD in ethology. He has authored numerous books and scientific papers on animal people's inner lives and behavior, as well as animal people protection. When speaking of us animal people, he says, as science continues to make new discoveries about animal minds and feelings, I hope it strikes a chord for more considerate, ethical treatment of animals. We animal people are fans of his books, which have helped people to view us with more respect and compassion. Actually, we animal kingdom folk also feel much compassion just as the noble humans of the world do. It's our great pleasure to present this interview where Dr. Balcombe speaks about us animal people.
One of the things that supports the notion of empathy in animals is that they have what are called mirror neurons. These are special cells in the brain which are activated when the animal feels something or sees another animal feeling the same thing. So if another animal is struggling to reach food, say, the individual who's watching them will show the same brain change in the neurons as if they were doing it themselves and trying to reach food that they couldn't reach. So that's one kind of anatomical way that we can appreciate empathy in other animals.
We were delighted when Dr. Balcombe used us chimpanzee people in his example of compassion.
Here's an example from a chimpanzee, a close relative of ours. A researcher famously experienced empathy in chimpanzees by the situation where if the chimpanzee was sitting on the roof playing or high up in a tree and she wanted the chimp to come in because the day was over, it was time to go to bed or have your dinner. If she called and said, come down, please come, it didn't work. But if she pretended she was crying, if she acted very sad and wept, acted as if she was weeping, she could trick the chimpanzee into coming down because the chimp would come down to comfort her on seeing that. And chimpanzees do this in the wild. They comfort each other just as we do, and other animals will comfort each other. So that's just one specific example of empathy in action in a non-human.
This is quite true. We chimpanzee men, women, and children do feel many of the emotions that humans feel, and so do many other animal kingdom folk that you might not expect to. Dr. Balcombe has such keen insights into another family of animal people whose IQ and emotional intelligence are sadly overlooked by many, and that is the fish people. In his book, What a Fish Knows: The Inner Lives of Our Underwater Cousins, he reveals the amazing facts that will change the way we think about fish people. Did you know that many fish folk assist and collaborate with one another?
There's another fish that feeds on the reef that they eat algae, and to get the algae, you have to be head down in a vulnerable situation because you can't see trouble coming. So wouldn't it be nice if you had a fish looking out for you? And they have another one, they go in pairs, and while one of them is head down in the reef, the other one is head up, looking out for trouble. Now that one is not feeding. It's an example of delayed gratification, waiting to get what you want, which is food. And so that's considered a moral kind of behavior, a virtuous behavior. And of course, after a few minutes, they switch places and the other one comes up. So both of them get to feed more safely thanks to the cooperation and thoughtfulness of the other.
That man who wishes to avoid calamity of every kind should abstain from the meat of every living creature. The Mahabharata, Hinduism.
Let's now pause while I chat with some of my friends. Our show will continue very soon here on Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to Dr. Jonathan Balcombe, vegan, on the incredible intellect and emotional intelligence of animal people, part 1 of 2. Are fish people parents involved in the upbringing of their children? Actually, they can be quite devoted parents.
There are some fishes who actually look after their eggs and their young for several weeks. There's even some fish called mouth brooder fish who take the young into the mouth. If there's trouble coming, the father fish signals and all the young swim over and the father fish opens his mouth and they all get sucked into his mouth. They stay there like in a protective place. It's a very good hiding space while trouble is nearby. And then later, when the trouble is gone, the fish can come out again. It's usually the fathers who do the parenting. Just here on Lake Ontario, where I live, a couple of years ago, I saw this dark mass. It turned out it was bowfin with about 500 babies. The babies are about that long and they're dark. And they're all in a tight pack. And the dad was about a foot long. And sometimes he actually disappeared inside the cloud of young. He was looking after them, babysitting them for several weeks. And at one point, some of the young swam away. They broke off from the main cluster and he swam over and carefully herded them back. So it was very devoted parenting. This is something that people need to be aware of, that these animals have social lives. They have cares and woes and worries and concerns and stresses and happiness and pleasure. They have a rich experiential, physical and emotional life like we do.
We chimpanzee people have various qualities that are similar to fish people. We also show affection to our loved ones, and we were surprised to learn that some fish people really like to receive affection.
Studies have been done showing that a fish, for instance, who gets stroked, who gets caressed, gentle caresses on the skin, they like that, and it makes them feel much less stressed. You can measure their stress levels in the bloodstream, and the stress levels come down. The levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, come down when they're given an opportunity to get caresses, gentle caresses. So these kinds of experiments show that these animals have emotions and have pain and have stress, and we need to treat them accordingly.
We couldn't agree more. All of us animal people long for respect from humans. This means allowing us to live free and rich lives. And we want respect for our environment because it is our home, and we rely on it for food, shelter, and survival. For my chimpanzee people family, this means not cutting down the forests. And for our fish friends, this means keeping the oceans clean and letting the fish people flourish.
far and away the most animals we harm are to eat them. And we're talking about tens of billions of land animals, especially chickens. And in case of fishes, we're talking about hundreds of billions and possibly over 1 trillion every year. And not only the numbers are high, but the conditions they live in are really appalling, especially if it's factory farms or aquaculture operations. These are basically factory farms for fishes. So the conditions and the short lives and the methods of killing them are all pretty horrible. And it's all to feed us. It's the easiest thing to change, both for the animals and our health and the environment.
Dr. Balcombe proposes the vegan diet as a solution to this very real problem that all of us Earthlings are currently facing, because it not only affects us animal people, but the destruction of the environment is also affecting humans.
If we stop eating animals, we can solve all of these problems. We don't need to be doing that. We can eat plants, and plants are the best, most efficient source of protein. And I would add, frankly, the most delicious.
Compassionate viewers, please join us again next Friday, March 25th, for part 2 of Dr. Jonathan Balcombe Vegan on the incredible intellect and emotional intelligence of animal people, where we will learn more about insect people's sentience and the important role they play in human lives with Dr. Balcombe. For more information about Dr. Jonathan Balcombe and his books, please visit facebook.com/Jonathan Balcombe author.
Making war. Oh, no wonder you are looking uglier each day.
Warm-hearted viewers, it has been a pleasure to have you with us for our program. Up next is Heaven is Aiding Ukraine in the War Between Good and Evil, Part 1 of 6 on Between Master and Disciples, right after noteworthy news. May your days be filled with joy and contentment as your admiration of the animal people deepens and flourishes.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/AW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/AW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/AW.
Naše programy nabízejí více jazyků. Prosím navštivte suprememastertv.com/schedule a suprememastertv.com/AW.